Okay, I think we can start now. Alright, so welcome back everyone to revision lesson 5. Okay, we took a break last week during the September holidays. So this is lesson 5. Okay, for those of you who are new here, I'm Miss Chang. Right, okay, so for those of you who are new, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction first, right, before we get into the questions. Right, so our Mem Specialty Center, okay, we're located at Parkway. Okay, we help students with borderline grades turn around their results within a short period of time. Right, so we have a lot of students coming to us and telling us that, I don't know how to do problem sums. Right, but that's not the case. Okay, they do learn a lot of strategies in school, right? You have a lot of concepts and models. It's just that you don't know how to apply it, right, when you read the question. So what we do here is we help students, right, recognize and single out the keywords in each question so they're able to apply the appropriate models, concepts, or strategies that they should, right? And after a while, the students tell us that, oh, actually it's not that difficult, right? You just need to know what kind of strategy to apply, right? And with enough practice, okay, it's no problem to be able to jump a few grades. So what's the objective of our Zoom lesson, right? Is to help students who are struggling with problem sums. Okay, improve students' understanding and confidence in tackling problem sums. Right. Demonstrate how problem sums can be solved systematically. There are a lot of steps to each question, right? So each step, I'll explain it carefully for you so you're able to know why you have to do that and so that you can, right, be able to apply it the next time you see such a question. So the SA2 and PSLE is coming up, so this is especially for you to be able to prepare for your upcoming exams. Right, so what's the outline of this lesson? Okay, we will have strategy 1, 4 questions, strategy 2, right, 4 questions, and 2 higher order thinking questions. So this is the ground rules as usual, right? This is a Zoom platform. We will have audio muted, so communication is through the chat. Right, so please participate. Okay, answer questions, ask questions. Okay, no spamming of the chat. Please be considerate to your other fellow classmates. Listen attentively, write the solutions, and also have fun. Right, so before I get into the questions, right, last week we had, during the September holidays, okay, we had some students who signed up. So for those of you who missed that out, we still have the October holiday program. Right, so I'll send the link to the chat right now. So if you'd like to take a look, okay, you can click on it right now and save it, okay, or bookmark it. So what it has is, for example, the P5 SA2 revision. Right, if you click on it, we will have 2 types of lessons. One is the revision booster class. One is the final revision bootcamp. So these 2 is a bit different, right? The first one is more focused on topical revision, right, for the booster class. As for the final revision, we're focusing more on those more popular. Okay, so this is topical and this is more of the popular problem sum questions. Okay, this is during the PSLE marking week, whereas for this is starting in the first week of October. Right, so when you press into it, okay, you would have this page, right? It will link you to this page. And you can sign up at the bottom here. Right, so you can take note of this. If you missed out our September holiday program, you can sign up for the October one as well. Right, so give yourself and your child a final push right before their final exams. Okay, so let's get into the questions. Right, for today's lesson 5, we're doing ratio. Okay, so let's look at the first strategy here. Right, finding equivalent ratio. Step 1, write down the different sets of ratios that is given in the question. Step 2, make repeated identity equivalent using common multiple. Right, and then find one unit and then solve for the answer. So let's get into strategy 1 first. Oops, this is the wrong. Okay. Right, at a party, the ratio of the number of adults to the number of children was 7:5. Right, adults to children, 7:5. Okay, if you have a highlighter or a pen, okay, please underline or highlight the keywords. Right, and the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls, 3:5. If there were 50 girls, find the number of adults at the party. Right, so first of all, write down the different sets of ratios. You have, first of all, is the adults to the children. Right, so 7:5. That's the first set. Right, what's the second set? Boys is to girls. 3:5. Right, so how do I know what is the repeated identity here? You have adults, children, boys, and girls. Adults, are they repeating in these two sets of ratio? No. How about children? Right, take a look here, children. We have boys and girls, but we don't have a column for children. But you know that we can make that column. Yeah, boys plus girls will get you children. So 3 + 5, 8. Now we have a repeated identity here, children. So what we need to do is make this 5 and 8 equivalent, right? Because they should be the same, but they don't look the same right now. You have 5 and you have 8. So using common multiple, right? What's the common multiple of 5 and 8? The first common multiple. Okay, thank you, Aiman. 40. Right, 40. So what we need to do is make it equivalent to 40. So this set you times 8, and the other set you times 5. Correct. Okay, so if you times 5 here, you have to times 5 throughout for the entire set of the ratio. So 5 times 5, 25. 3 times 5, 15. Right, same thing for this side of the ratio. 7 times 8, you will get 56. How to get 8 for the children? Right, children is boys and girls, so 3 + 5, you can get 8 here. Okay? Right, so now that you have the equivalent ratio, the one in green, we know that the number of girls, you have 50. Right, so look at the girls' equivalent ratio here, 25. Right, so 25 units, okay, this for the girls, must be equals to the 50 girls here. So from here, you can find one unit, 50 divided by 25. Right, so what's 1 unit? Okay, thank you, Hasik. 2. Right, then find the number of adults at the party. They want adults. Right, so take note, very important. Do I look at 7 or do I look at 56 here to find the adults? Okay, great. Everyone's saying 56. Okay, so don't look at the wrong one. You should look at the green one, which is the equivalent ratio that you already found here. Right? Look at 56 units. You have 1 unit here, which is 2. So you can find 56 units here. 56 times 2. So your final answer, okay, great. Everyone calculated it. 112. So you have 112 adults at the party. Okay, so let's try question 2. Right, so you have a hall, right? The ratio of the number of teachers to students in the hall was 2:5, right? Teachers to students, 2:5. The ratio of the boys to girls was 1:5. If there were 20 boys, find the number of teachers in the hall. Step 1, write down the different sets of ratio. So whatever you have, write it down. Teachers is to students, 2:5. Boys to girls, 1:5. Right, then what's next? Is there any repeated identity here? You have teachers, students, boys, and girls. Right, so we have to make the repeated identity ourselves. Boys and girls, if you add it up, it should get you students, right? Students is the sum of the boys and girls. So 5 units plus 1 unit, 6. Right, so we created the repeated identity ourselves here. Students, 5, 6. Now find the common multiple of 5 and 6. Right, so what do you have? $30, thank you. So times 6 here, times 5 here to get 30. Right, but don't forget you have to times throughout for each set of ratio. So here times 6, 2 times 6, you have 12. 5 times 5, 25. 5 times 1, 5. Right, and there were 20 boys. The boys, we know they have 5 units. So these 5 units must be the 20 boys here. What is 1 unit? 20 divided by 5. Okay, great, 4. So find the number of teachers in the hall. Teachers you have, do I look at 2 or 12? 12, thank you. Right, so 12 units, let's find it. 4 times 12. Right, 48. So 48 teachers in the hall. Okay, give you some more time to copy first, right, and try to internalize the question before we go on to question 3. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, question 3. Alright, so for every person wearing blue at event, okay, there were 5 people wearing red. Every person wearing blue, 5 people wearing red. For every 2 people wearing blue, there were 3 people wearing yellow. If there were 20 people wearing red, how many people were there at the event altogether? Right, so remember your step 1, write down the sets of ratio. Every person, okay, for blue, there were 5 red. So every person means blue. How many units? 1, yes. Right, so this is for blue is to red. For every 2 people wearing blue, you have 3 wearing yellow. So what is the repeated identity here that we have to make equivalent? Right, the blue. Because they are repeated here. Right, so this 1 we can times 2 to get 2, right? So that is equivalent. 2 times 5, 10. Now it's equivalent, right? If there were 20 people wearing red, how many units is for the red? Here. 10 units. Okay, look at the correct one, the equivalent one. So what is 1 unit? 20 divided by 10, which is just 2. So how many people were there at the event all together? You need the total number of units. Right, so add up. 2 for the blue, 10 for the red, and 3 for the yellow. How many? Okay, thank you, Syed. 15. 15 units. We have 1 unit. Can we find the total? Yes. 30, right? 15 times 2, 30. So there were 30 people at the event altogether. Right, let's go to the next question. Question 4. Okay, you have Crystal, Diana, and Eleanor, right? They made some bookmarks. Crystal and Diana made some bookmarks in the ratio 7:11. Okay, Crystal, Diana. For every bookmark made by Crystal, Diana and Eleanor would make 2. Eleanor made 64 less bookmarks than Crystal. Less. How many bookmarks did Crystal make? Remember, step 1, right? Write down the ratios first. So you have Crystal, Diana, 7:11. Right, and then the next set, every bookmark made by Crystal, Diana and Eleanor will make 2. Both of them. So it's D plus E here. It will make 2. Every bookmark means 1. Right, so this portion here for these questions is a bit tricky, alright? So it's not so simple like your question 1 and 2. You take note, every bookmark means 1, and Diana and Eleanor is 2 people, so you have to add them up here to have 2. Right, so now, which one is repeated that I must make equivalent? Crystal. Yes. Right, I cannot make Diana equivalent, right? Some of you telling me Diana. Cannot, because Diana is accompanied by Eleanor here. Right, so we're not able to make it equivalent. It has to be exactly the same here. So times 7, such that you have 7 for Crystal, right? So it matches. And 2 times 7, 14. Right. What's next? Okay, we know that Eleanor made 64 less bookmarks than Crystal. So we need to have the number of units for Crystal minus Eleanor. So we know Crystal has 7 units, but do we know the number of units for Eleanor? Okay, Shakira, 14 minus 11. Okay, great. Did everyone else see that? Okay, Diana plus Eleanor is 14. We know that Diana is 11. So how to find Eleanor? Right, we have Crystal, we don't have Eleanor. So to find Eleanor, we have to take 14 minus away Diana, right? Diana is within this 14 here. Take it away, and we have 3, which is Eleanor. So now we can take 7 minus 3 to find the difference between Eleanor and Crystal. So that will be 4 units. Okay, great. Yeah, 4 units. So this 4 units equals to what? The difference here, 64. So 64, right, is this 4 units here. 4 units equals to 64. Can you find 1 unit? Right, divide by 4. Okay, 16, thank you. So how many bookmarks did Crystal make? Right, Crystal has 7 units. So with this 1 unit you found here, you can find 7 units. 112. Okay, for those of you who still don't understand why 14 minus 11, Okay, you need to take a look here. Diana plus Eleanor, you have 14 units. Diana has 11 units. Right, so 11 plus Eleanor should get you 14 here. Yes, okay, so 14 minus 11, you can get the remaining, which will be Eleanor. Right, if you're not sure, you can check again, right? Make sure that Diana plus Eleanor will get you 14. So 11 plus 3, yes, it does get you 14. So this is how you check your work also, right? Before you carry on with the steps. Okay, let's carry on to strategy 2. Alright, so let's take a look at strategy 2. Single unchange. So fill in the BCA table, right? So those of you who were from my class, you should know what is BCA. If you don't, then I'll explain it to you. Right, number 2, check which item is unchanged, right? And then make the unchanged item equivalent using common multiple, right? And then lastly, right, find one unit and solve for the answer. Good, Haziq. Okay, before change after, that's the BCA. Right, so you have a box containing red and blue marbles in the ratio 2:5, right? Red is to blue. After 20 blue marbles were added to the box, okay, after 20, added, right? Added means you plus. The ratio becomes 3:8. Find the number of red marbles in the box. Okay, they want red marbles. Right, so step 1, fill in the BCA table. You have 2 items, red and blue. Right, and then write down B for before, C for change, and after, A for after. Right, so those of you who are in my class, you don't need to write it down, just BCA enough, you don't have to write everything out. Those of you who are new to this, you should write it down so at least next time we revise, you know what this means. Okay, now fill it in. 2:5 was before. Right, what's the change? 30 blue marbles were added. So under the blue column here, you add 30. Right, and then what happened? The ratio became 3:8. Right, so can you tell me, red or blue is unchanged here? Yes, correct. Red unchanged. Okay, why? Those of you who are confused, why is red unchanged? Look at the row for change. The blue you added 30, but the red is blank here. There's nothing happened, right? Nothing happened to the red marbles. So this means that the red at the beginning must still be the same at the end. Right, so 2 and 3, they don't look the same right now. We have to make it the same. So make it equivalent. What is the common multiple of 2 and 3? Okay, thank you, 6. Right, so over here, you need to make it into 6 times 3. Here, times 2. right? Remember, you have to times throughout for the entire set of ratio. So this will become 5 times 3, 15. 8 times 2, 16. After your ratio is equivalent, we can now compare, right? Before you have 15 for the blue, and at the end you have 16 units. So what is the change here? How many units do you add to get 16? Okay, thank you. 1. 15, you need to add 1 unit to get 16 here. So what does this tell us? 1 unit is equals to how many marbles? 30. You have 1 unit here and you added 30. So whatever you added must have been the 30 blue marbles. So 1 unit equals to 30, right? How do I find the number of red marbles? Red marbles from the start to the end, 6 units. So take your 1 unit times 6. Okay, great. 180. Right, so if you're still a bit shaky on this strategy, it's okay. We have 3 other questions to practice this. Right, let's go to question 2. Okay, I'll leave question 1 on the screen for a bit longer if you're still copying. Okay, the ratio of the group of girls to boys in a hall was 2:3. Right, after 21 girls joined the group, the ratio became 5:4. Find the number of boys in the hall. So girls to boys, 2:3. 21 girls joined the group. Join means you add. Right, and then the ratio became 5:4. Find the number of boys in the hall. So step 1, fill in the BCA table. You have girls is to boys. B, C, A. Before, change, after. Right, at the beginning it was 2:3, so fill it in, whatever you highlighted here. Right, and then 21 girls join the group. Join means you add. So under the girls column, add 21. Right, and then the ratio became 5:4. So fill it in. 5:4. Right, now tell me, girls or boys unchanged? Okay, boys are unchanged because girls you have a plus 21 here. Boys, nothing happened, so boys unchanged. So what's the next step? Make unchanged item equivalent. Because the before and the after, it must be the same, right? It's unchanged, but it doesn't look the same right now, so we have to make it the same. Common multiple of 3 and 4. Okay, thank you. 12. Alright, so multiply it to get 12 times 4 here, 4 times 3 to get 12. And remember the entire set of ratio. 2 times 4, 8, 5 times 3, 15. Okay, now you have your equivalent ratio. Right, you can compare. At first, the girls had 8 units. At the end, 15 units. How many units do you add here to get 15 units? Take your after units minus the before units. Okay, great. 7 units here. So 7 units equals to the 21 girls that joined the group. Right, then from here you can find 1 unit. 21 divided by 7. 3. Right, so how many boys were there in the hall? Right, from the start to the end, the boys, you have 12 units. Right, so take your 1 unit, which is 3 times 12 to get 12 units. So the final answer will be 36 boys. Okay, very good. Right, let's carry on to the next question. Right, there's a cafeteria at the side of a swimming pool. Okay, you can continue copying if you're still not done with question 2. It'll be here. Right, there's a cafeteria at the side of a swimming pool. The ratio of the number of people swimming in the pool to the number of people at the cafeteria was 5:4. Right, when 49 people in the pool left, right, immediately when you see left, you must think, is it minus or plus? Right, and then the ratio became 3:8. How many people were at the cafeteria? Right, so you have the pool and the cafeteria before, change, after. Right, so can you fill in the table by yourself right now? And then let me know which one is unchanged. Okay, select the option in the poll. Okay, who is unchanged? Remember to fill in the BCA table. Here, almost all of you have voted already. Okay, a few more seconds before I show you what you have selected. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay. Right, so let's take a look. Right, the majority of you chose people at the cafeteria. Right, let's check. The ratio before, what was it? Okay, it was 5:4, right? Five is to 4. And then 49 people left the pool, minus 49 here. And the ratio became 3:8. So looking at this, or even from the question, you should know. They only told you that 49 people left the pool. Did anyone leave or come into the cafeteria? No, nothing happened here. It is blank. Right, so this tells us that the people in the cafeteria is unchanged. Right, so if this is unchanged, before and after must be equivalent. Right, nothing happened, so it should be the same. So what can I do? 4 and 8. This 4 here, I can times 2 to get 8. Right, 8 and 8. So now it's equivalent. Right, remember the times throughout. So here is 10. So how many units was taken away here? From 10 to reach to 3 at the end. 10 units minus 3 units. Okay, thank you. 7. Right, 10 minus 7, you have the 3 units at the end. So this tells us the 7 units must be the 49 people who left the pool. So what's 1 unit? 49 divided by 7. Right, which is just 7. How many people were at the cafeteria? Okay, so I saw some of you asking, right, is it before or after? Are they asking us for the people in the cafeteria before or at the end? Right, what do you think? Or is there no difference? Yes, there's no difference. Right, we made it equivalent before and at the end. There's no difference, so you just need to find 8 units. Here, 7 times 8. Right, because cafeteria, the people in there is unchanged. So your final answer is 56. Okay, this is for cafeteria. All right, question 4. Right, you have some cows and goats on a farm. The ratio of the number of cows to number of goats was 2:7. When 200 of the goats were sold, the ratio then became 6:13. Right, how many goats were there at first? Right, so if you're confident, right, you can use the same strategy from question 1 to 3, right, and try this. Okay, this is for question 3, still on the screen. So if you're still copying, right, okay, quickly copy it down before I start on question 4. All right. Okay, let's clear this. Okay, cows to goats, 2:7, 200 goats were sold, ratio 6:13. Okay, they want goats at first. Step 1, fill in BCA table. Before, change, after. Before it was 2:7. The change. 200 goats were sold. Minus, right? You sold them. Minus 200. In the end, it became 6:2. Right? Is the after 6:13. Right. So first, you have to check which item is unchanged. Cows or goats? Looking at your table here. Right, the goats you sold 200. Nothing happened to the cows. Right, so cows is unchanged. Okay, great. Most of you got it. Cows. So if it's unchanged, right, it means that before and after must be equivalent. It must be the same, but it doesn't look the same right now. You have 2 and 6. Right, so we can change this 2 to 6 times 3. So that is now equivalent. Right, so times throughout the entire set of the ratio. Okay, 3 times 7, 21. Okay, now that is equivalent, we can compare. Right, so you have 21 units at the beginning for the goats, 13 at the end. So how many was sold? How many units of goats were sold? Right, 21 units minus 13 units. 8 units. Right, so 8 units must be the 200 here. Right, so without my help, can you find 1 unit and find how many goats were there at first? Okay, goats at first. Right, remember to look at the equivalent ratio. Right, so select your answer in the poll. Okay, I want the final answer. How many goats were there at first? Okay, give you some more time. Okay, let's check. Right, so this is what you selected. The majority of you chose 525. Right, how do you get 525? Let's check whether that's the answer. Okay, first of all, 1 unit, 200 divided by 8. Right, that gets you 25. How many goats were there at first? Goats at first, 7 or 21? I look at 21 here. Right, so 21 units, the equivalent one. At first, okay, 21. So 21 times 25, that will get you 525. So this is the number of goats at first. Right, so if you chose 150, what you found was the cow, 6 units. Okay, and if you chose 25, that's just 1 unit. You need to read the question. They want the goats at first. So after you found 1 unit, find the 21 units for the goats. Okay, let's get to the higher order questions. For those of you who came to the bootcamp September, you should be able to attempt this question. Right? We covered this during the bootcamp. Alright, you have Andy. Okay, he has a fruit stall that sells green and red apples. The number of green apples is 1:5, right? 1/5 as many as the number of red apples at first. Then Andy bought 5 more. Okay, he bought 5 more green apples and 12 more red apples. The ratio of the number of green apples to red apples became 1:4. How many green apples did Andy have at first? Right, so let's break down this 1/5 here. The number of green apples is 1/5 as many as the number of red apples at first. So draw your arrows. Okay, 1 is for the green apples. 5 is for the red apples. So what is the ratio? 1:5. That is at the beginning. And then Andy bought 5 more green apples. Right? And 12 more red apples. The ratio of the number of green apples to red apples became 1:4. Right, that's at the end. Okay. So what do we do here? Do you have anything unchanged, green and red? No, right? The green, you have added 5, right? And then for the red, you added 12. So there's nothing unchanged here, right? And if you learn about the other types of total unchanged or different unchanged, okay, you cannot use those also because you're adding 2 different numbers. Right, so how do we tackle this question? Look at the box here. Right, you have step 1, use units and parts to differentiate the different quantities they represent. Right, so the before, we're going to represent it as units. and the after, we'll represent it as parts. Step 2, make sure the after quantities are made equal using common multiples. After quantities, you have 1 part here, 4 parts here. Let's make them equal, times 4. But if I times 4 here, this is for the green, right? We have to times 4 throughout. So what's next? Rewrite everything, okay, after you make equivalent into the second table. So 4 units here, 5 times 4 plus 20. Here is the same, right? 1 part times 4, you have 4 parts, and 4 parts here. Right, now that the after quantities are made equal, we can draw models to illustrate the problem. Right, the after quantities are equal. So for the green, we have 4 units at the beginning, plus 20, and we end up with 4 parts. For the red, at the beginning, 5 units, you add 12, you end up with 4 parts. So what can you say about these two? If they are both equal to 4p, this portion here must also be equals to this portion here. Right, so using this, we can draw the model. This is for the green, this is for the red. So 4 units for the green, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. As for the red, you have 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And whatever is left here is the 12. So what can you say about 1 unit? Anyone? One unit equals to 20 minus 12. 8. Yeah, Keith, correct. 8. Right, so you have 8 for 1 unit. Take note, for this type of question, the second table here is only for you to draw the model. So when you're trying to find the final answer, you have to look back at the original table. So they're asking you for how many green apples he had at first, which is this, 1 unit. So our final answer is just 8. Okay, I understand that this question might be a bit challenging for those of you who only just tried this question today. So you can go back and try to redo it by yourself. Okay, let's go to the last question here. Okay, the ratio of Ariel's stems to Sarah's stems was 5:7. Belinda had 1/5 of what the 3 girls had altogether. Right, so write down the ratio first. error to Sarah. 5:7. Okay. Belinda, 1/5 of what the 3 girls had. So draw your arrows. 1 is for Belinda, 5 is for the 3 girls. So the 3 girls, A plus Sarah plus Belinda, all 3 of them. So that ratio will be B:A plus S plus B, 1:5. Okay, this is a B. Okay, what do they want? They want arrow to Sarah to Belinda. A:S is to B. Okay, we have arrows. We have Belinda here, but we don't have, we have Sarah also, but we don't have the equivalent one. Right, we need to make it equivalent first. So how? First of all, can you see that Belinda here is repeated? Right, I highlight it in green. So if I take out Belinda from here, A plus S has how many units? Anyone? Okay, thank you, Shanice. 4. Right, 5 minus Belinda, you take her out from this total, you have 4. Right, so this question is tricky. What must I make equivalent? Can you see here? I have A plus Sarah as well. 5 plus 7, which is 12. So I have to make equivalent A plus S here and A plus S here. So times 3. Right, so now it's equivalent. So we can now write arrow is to Sarah is to Belinda. So arrow is 5, Sarah is 7, and Belinda should be 3. Right, so if you wrote 1, then it's wrong already. Okay, you need to make it equivalent. Okay, part B. If arrow had 210 stems, how many stems did Belinda have? Right, arrow 5 units. Okay, thank you. 5 units is 210. What is 1 unit? You can divide by 5. Okay, thank you. 42. Yes, correct. 210 divided by 5, you can get 42 for 1 unit. So how many stems did Belinda have? Okay, Belinda has 3 units. So your final step, take your 1 unit, 42 times 3. Okay, great. A lot of you got it. 126. Okay, so we have come to the end of revision 5. Okay, if you're still copying, I can leave it to I can show it to you afterwards, right? So thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please contact us, right, via email or WhatsApp. Okay, for more information about our programs, please visit our website. Right, and also regarding our programs, okay, I'll send the link to you right now. in the chat. So you can click on it for our October holiday programs. All right, those of you who are late, okay, you can take a look right now. Okay, when you click on the website, you'll reach here. Okay, you have siblings who are primary 4 and primary 3. You can also come for a revision. Right, when you click into it, you will have two types of classes that you can sign up for. Okay, you can sign up for both as well if you like. Right, and when you click into it, okay, oops. Right, you can have this page here, right, and you can sign up. Okay, at the very end. Right. Okay, so if that's all, right, I'll see you next week for revision 6. I'll stay back for a while if you have any questions or if you still need to copy some of the work that you missed out. Okay, bye-bye.